This week, the IRONMAN Austria in Klagenfurt, one of the fastest courses in Europe. Klagenfurt favorite Ferris Alsultan talks about the expectations of him. Meet Dr. Valerie Gonzales, a 66-year-old Canadian, on her impressive race into the dark. And Thomas Hellriegel, the first German to win the Ironman World Championships. Klagenfurt, a beautiful town situated on the shores of the Wörthersee, is the home of the IRONMAN Austria. Legend has it that the people of Klagenfurt had to fight a dragon to live safely in this old town. Perhaps the brave warriors about to embark on their Ironman journey would have their own demons to overcome. Klagenfurt is surrounded by majestic mountains and boasts a continental climate. The winter is cold and foggy, but the summers are hot and humid. Ferris Alsultan can deal with the heat. He is a four-time Ironman champion and a favorite in Klagenfurt. He might be 34, but he's been in the sport longer than most. After 15 years in Ironman, you simply are a veteran. I've finished 28 Ironman races so far. He has already achieved every Ironman professional's dream. He became the Ironman World Champion in 2005. This was 7 years ago, yet Ferris is still going strong. He is the reigning European champion. Ferris Alsultan knows that Ironman is hard and physical. When you start, you have this endless energy and push yourself through everything. Now it's different. You've learned a lot. You know what you can't do anymore. It's amazing when you look at the old training plans and say to yourself, gee, what have I put myself through? As an experienced competitor, first and foremost, Ferris races himself, and he seems to enjoy it. He will tough it out against any competition. I want to go to the front. I want to get away. I want to do the race on my own as much as possible. Amongst the amateurs, Valerie Gonzales from Victoria, Canada. At 66 years of age, she is the oldest female participant, and she discovered triathlon not so long ago.
I was watching my daughter at her first half Ironman, and I was watching all these beautiful athletic people go by.
When Valerie noticed that it was not just the pros racing Ironman, but actually everyday people, the Ironman bug bit.
At 50 years old, I had to learn to swim and bike and run.
As a psychology professor, Valerie has a saying, you can't find peace avoiding life.
You can do things even if you think you can't.
Valerie will not only have to overcome the challenges of Ironman, but more so, her own health problems.
I have some health issues that are producing challenges for me. And there are challenges that are starting to interfere with my racing. So I want to see whether I can finish this time.
The latest equipment and nutrition won't guarantee you an Ironman finish, but it helps to keep track of all the developments in the sport. Over 2,700 athletes registered for what would be one of their biggest challenges. Ironman Austria is a special one. Marina van Hoeneke, who won the race 6 times in a row until 2011, is not participating this year. His absence fueling the expectations of the entered pros. There are 6-7 athletes in the race just waiting for the big favorite Ferris Alsultan to suffer a little. He will have a hard time. You've got to reckon on Daniel Fontana, and I'll be there as well. Surely I've been made a favorite here, but there are 30 other athletes, pros, and definitely 5, 6 of them are very good.
The person who wins tomorrow will do a very, very mature performance, and so for me to do that mature performance at 23 years of age will be a big thing.
Mary Beth Ellis set the mark for the women in 2011 with an 8-hour 43:34 second winning time. This time, Erika Tsomo and Lindsay Corbin are the top favourites and will battle for the top step of the podium between themselves.
Well, I've raced Erika before, and so I think, everyone's like, oh, Erika, Lindsay, Erika, Lindsay.
We have some memories together. A few years ago, I was stronger, but she's younger, so she's keep improving. I think in this weather, it can be a race against yourself, not against the clock or the others.
Saturday before race day, race director Owen Doctor heads out to the middle of the lake to check the water temperature. Anything over 24.5 degrees will mean a no wetsuit swim. A lot of athletes depend on the speed advantage gained by wearing a wetsuit. Unfortunately, with the heat experienced during Iron Week, the waters of the Wörthersee measured at 24.8 degrees. This meant no wetsuit, no advantage. Race morning. 21 degrees, yet the water's even warmer. Last preparations in transition. Pros and amateurs alike all have that nervous feeling in their stomachs. I always feel terrible before the race. I think most of the athletes do. You're nervous and a bit tense. This is simply no training day. But peak performance is only possible if you have this particular feeling. Some are trying not to think, while others visualize achieving their goals.
Definitely would love to win, so that's the goal.
Mostly scared, it's a long day and long, hard day, so... But of course, I would like to enjoy it.
For the pros, it's an 8 to 9 hour workday. For the amateurs, it's a different story.
We won't see the worst of the heat. I think the people out there for 13, 14 hours are going to see the worst of the heat.
The weather is perfect for me. 40 degrees, I hope so. Without wetsuit is perfect for me.
Everybody is thinking about a potentially slower no wetsuit swim. The strongest swimmers relish their advantage, and perhaps everybody can enjoy the thought of the coolest discipline of the day. Valerie is already looking forward to the end of the swim.
Swimming, I will be slow. No wetsuit, I will be slow. But that's okay. I'll still finish.
The calm before the storm. It's a single lap 3.8-kilometer swim in the clear blue waters of the Wörthersee. Unique to Klagenfurt, the athletes complete the final kilometer in the Lendkanal, spurred by thousands of spectators. Compounding the normal stress of competing in an Ironman, the no wetsuit factor adds even more apprehension, especially for the age groupers, and amongst them, Valerie Gonzales. One last cheer to bolster the courage. And at 7 a.m., the cannon fires. 2,700 athletes, including 50 pros, start their journey. Almost half of the field is competing in their first ever Ironman. Athletes have 2 hours, 20 minutes to complete the 3.8K swim, while the pros will be done in 50 minutes. 6 athletes have pulled away at the front of the race. Ferris Alsultan, as race favorite, is in the bunch with Philip Graves and Italian Daniel Fontana. The group is led by Adam Molnar, who has lost his cap. Erika Tsomo is in the lead of the women's field, proving she's not only a good runner. Race favorite Lindsay Corbin is losing time, but it's still early in the race. Coming into the Lendkanal, Adam Molnar is setting the pace. Ferris Alsultan and the other favorites on his toes, but due to the no wetsuits factor, swim times will be slower than previously. After 50 minutes, Adam Molnar is first out of the water, followed by Brit Philip Graves. Graves is fastest in transition and mounts his bike in first position. But Ferris Alsultan is just a few seconds behind. After having put on his shirt, the German runs to his bike a couple of 100 meters away. He will race in his legendary Speedo for the entire day. After the swim, the gaps are minimal in the men's field, although in transition, some athletes are faster than others. In the women's race, Erika Tsolmo has been impressive with a perfect start to the race. The Hungarian exits the water first, with a gap of more than 2 minutes on her big rival Lindsay Corbin. It's now time for all the age groupers to finish their swim and transition onto the 180-kilometer bike course. For Valerie Gonzales, it's still a long day. The 66-year-old Canadian struggles on the swim without a wetsuit. Will she make it before the 2-hour 20 cutoff time? The transition is almost deserted as she finally exits the water after 2 hours, 13 minutes and 23 seconds. Only 6 minutes before the cutoff time.
I'm just a very slow swimmer. I'm very happy the swim is over. Now my race starts.
The 180-kilometer bike course consists of 2 loops of 90 kilometers. After riding along the Wörthersee, the athletes will get to the steeper parts of the course before facing the day's biggest challenge, the 2-kilometer Rupertiberg climb with gradients of more than 11%. At the front of the race, Philip Graves is still leading the field and has built himself a 2-minute advantage on his chaser Ferris Alsultan, who is shadowed by Italian Daniel Fontana. The rest of the field has been dropped further behind. It seems that this cat-and-mouse game is working perfectly for the German favorite. The gap is staying constant around 2 minutes for the first part of the course. Crowds have come in their numbers to cheer the athletes up the Rupertiberg. It's a Tour de France atmosphere here in Klagenfurt. After 150 kilometers, positions are unchanged. Graves in first, Ferris Alsultan second, and he has finally dropped Fontana. After 5 hours, 17 minutes, 7 seconds of racing, Brit Philip Graves enters transition 2 in first position. The young man from York is a strong swimmer and biker, but the run, especially in this heat, will prove his biggest challenge. Less than 2 minutes later, Ferris Alsultan dismounts and starts the chase. The German is known to be a strong runner. Fontana is not far off, but further behind, the gap has almost become too big for podium hopes. Erika Tsolmo has had a strong first lap on the bike, further growing her advantage to 4 minutes. But slowly and surely, Lindsay Corbin is fighting her way back. After 90 kilometers, the Montana native overtakes the Hungarian. After spending a few kilometers riding side by side, Corbin decides to take off in order to build herself some breathing space going into the marathon. Tsolmo is renowned to be a strong runner, and if Corbin wants to win her second Ironman today, every second will count. After 5 hours and 56 minutes of racing, Corbin enters transition 2. She only needs seconds to put on her shoes before running onto the marathon course. The mercury indicates 35 degrees Celsius and rising, adding a further obstacle to overcome on this final part of the race. Erika Tsolmo enters transition 3 minutes 38 behind Corbin. Not impossible. Impossible it seems though for the rest of the women to potentially contest for victory. Most of the amateurs are still on the bike course. Despite the incredible temperatures, spectators have turned out in their thousands to support the age groupers. There are 6 aid stations placed along the course where athletes can grab drinks and food. Today, more than 25,000 liters of water will be consumed. All athletes have to finish the bike in a total race time of 10 hours and 30 minutes if they want to have the chance to start the last discipline, the 42-kilometer-long marathon. For Valerie Gonzales, the marathon seems ages away. After 6 hours, 53 minutes, the Canadian still has 70 kilometers to go. Will she beat the gun? Philip Graves has started the marathon in first and will be wondering how long he can hold off race favorite Ferris Alsultan. Erika Tsomo is only 3 minutes 30 behind Lindsay Corbin. Will her running legs overtake the American? We'll find out after the break. Philip Graves had a strong bike ride, but did he do too much? Despite a 2-minute advantage coming off the bike, Ferris Alsultan catches Graves only 3 kilometers into the marathon. The Ironman European champion showing his strategic maturity. For Graves, it seems the day will be long. Ferris Alsultan is on a mission. The only thing on his mind, winning his 5th Ironman title. A few moments later, Daniel Fontana passes Graves as well. Fontana is trying to make up some time on Ferris Alsultan. After 7 kilometers, the gap is only 1 minute 12 seconds. For Graves, things are not getting better, struggling with the heat and chest pains. In the women's race, Lindsay Corbin is leading by almost 4 minutes, but it seems that Erika Tsomo is making time. After 17 kilometers, the gap has dropped under 3 minutes. Ferris Alsultan continues with his impressive pace. The heat doesn't appear to be a factor for the German. With the first half of the run being undecisive as to who would come up tops, the German raised his game, upped his pace and grew his advantage over Fontana to 4 minutes 18 seconds. Fontana would now have to be content with second. The packed finish line of expectant spectators is waiting for Ferris Alsultan. Just a few hundred meters more for the German, who was already sharing his joy with the fans. Al-Sultan wins his 5th Ironman title. The heat has obviously made record-breaking impossible, but what an impressive win by the 34-year-old in a little bit more than 8 hours, 11 minutes. Comfortably in second, although, having lost more time to Al-Sultan, the exhausted Daniel Fontana is welcomed across the line by the day's champion. Ironman is always hard. I've been riding conservatively on the bike, raised the pace on the climbs, but in between I tried to pace myself because I knew it could become difficult today. Once I started the run, it was crazy with all the fans cheering, but that was a great experience, I must say. But even with the help of the fans, it is difficult. But I'm extremely happy that I won. Pedro Gomes from Portugal completes the podium thanks to an impressive marathon. The fastest Austrian on the day, Franz Hofer taking 4th, with David Pleze rounding up the top 5. It's not just the temperature that is rising, so is the tension in the women's race. Lindsay Corbin's advantage has shrunk to just 1 minute 15 seconds on Erika Tsomo, with 15 kilometers to go. At the 35k mark, the gap between the two women is only 300 meters. Will Tsomo finally win an Ironman again? But 400 meters from the finish line, no Tsomo in sight for Corbin. The American will finally add a 2nd Ironman title to complement the Coeur d'Alene win in 2010. Lindsay savors the last meters. She has made it in 9 hours, 9 minutes, 58 seconds. What an impressive will she has shown today. Just a couple of minutes later, Erika Tsomo crosses the line in 2nd again. But she put up a big fight on the day. A high-class performance by the Hungarian.
I really wanted to become a 2-time Ironman champion, but to me, the best races are when you just leave it all out there and you're pushed to your limits. And Erika pushed me till that last turn. I kept looking over, I'm like, she's coming. She's coming. I don't even know if I believe it yet. I get my heart rate down, but that was awesome.
I was almost crying. I couldn't. So mentally it was very hard to fight all the way. So she was very strong. I couldn't catch her. I really tried my best, but second again, it's...
Corbin wanted the moment to never end. The finish line provides everyone with their moment and an opportunity to pay a tribute, like Tom Lowe did with his Blazeman roll. At least for Tom, a kiss and a hug from Ironman world champion Chrissy Wellington helped to distract from the depth of pain endured en route to the finish. Fortunately, Ironman Austria's world-famous finish line party was like a magnet drawing the athletes to the magic carpet. But for many, the heat and the physical load proved too much. We were prepared for the worst. We increased the number of personnel already yesterday, but it came out that the athletes who were in trouble were very reasonable and didn't burn out themselves and gave up early enough.
Long day. The longest of my life.
12, 13, 14 hours. The amateurs are racing at their own pace. Finishers even go back out onto the course to help their fellow Ironman.
Very happy, very happy. Finisher.
Chicas muy bonitas.
Valerie has been on the move for 15 hours and briefly loses her way in the dark en route to the finish line. There is no doubting that she has proved to herself the depth of her strength and the heights of her will on this day, bringing to life that in Ironman, anything is possible.
My time sucks if I was comparing it to all my other Ironmen, which were 14 hours, but this was a special race under special conditions, and I am very happy with it. I didn't know whether I could do an Ironman again, so I have. I've done in one.
After 226 kilometers of racing in the swim, on the bike, and on the run, with temperatures exceeding 37 degrees Celsius, the finish line provided the platform for athletes to celebrate what they had achieved. Ladies champion Lindsay Corbin added to the occasion by handing out the medals, and the celebrations were happening on and off the finish line till the fireworks at midnight. Conquering the Lava Rock Trophy of Hawaii, the birthplace of Ironman, represents the ultimate goal for every triathlete. German Thomas Hellriegel, nicknamed Hell on Wheels due to his domination on the bike, has been eagerly dreaming of winning the Hawaii Ironman he discovered back in '89, watching Mark Allen and Dave Scott. His dream came true in 1997. If I did not win it in 97 or even in 1998, it would have become hard mentally to win it. In 1995, after an amazing bike time, the rookie was leading by 13 minutes, only to get caught by the legendary Mark Allen with 2 miles to go and finish second. 1 year later, confidence boosted and billed as the race favorite, Hellriegel set the bike course record, but got caught again on the run, but this time by Luc van Lierde at mile 24, again. In 97, everything went according to plan. I really tried to pace myself on the bike, even though Jürgen Zack was trying to make a high tempo. But I was pretty sure that I was the fastest runner out of that group, so the scenario was optimal for me. It took Hellriegel only 10 kilometers to catch and overtake Jürgen Zack, but Hellriegel was still anxious. As I passed this point at mile 24, I started to get scared a bit because I remembered the past years and thought something would happen. A guy would come out of nowhere. But no one materialized. Hellriegel was comfortably in the lead. At the Palani Road, the fans gave me a German flag, but in my physical state, it felt as if it weighed tons. So I started looking back and thought that through the flag I was becoming slow and someone would suddenly appear behind me. Your mind starts playing crazy. You think, I'm carrying the flag and suddenly I get beaten by someone. As he got closer and closer to the finish line, he could start believing that his dream was finally coming true. I knew it was only a few meters to the finish line, and you can start to see the finish ribbon hanging there. The feeling is crazy. You know you've trained thousands of hours, and now you just have to walk those last steps, and you have fulfilled your mission. I can still remember all of it. It was extremely emotional and huge. That day, in October 1997, changed Hellriegel's life forever, becoming the first German to win the ultimate prize, the world champion and owner of the Lava Rock Trophy of Hawaii. Next week, the season's highlight, the Ironman European Championships in Frankfurt. The two fastest men ever over the iron distance, Marino van Honecker and Andreas Raelert, go head-to-head. We portrait Caroline Steffen and her attempt to defend her title as European champion. Two-time world champion Norman Stadler goes down memory lane with us.